Today we'll give some introduction for the smart contract in the Ethereum. So first, what's a smart contract? Smart contract is a piece of code can run in the blockchain. The blockchain, they have a virtual machine, right? You can write a piece of code. Then that code can run in that virtual machine. Because anybody can write any code to run that virtual machine, that give a lot of flexibility for the Ethereum. That's why sometimes people call the Ethereum the Bitcoin 2.0, right? Because that way you can customize, everybody can contribute to that blockchain. One example is that here basically I show you is called something called Tether USDT. This one is called a token. That token is implemented use the smart contract. There is a financial organization behind this one, so they make sure that you can have the USDT dollar and the USD dollar at a 1-to-1 ratio. Here is the Yahoo Finance. You can see this last 1 year, right? It's almost like a 1-to-1 ratio exchange. This kind of thing is called a stable coin. But why we need a stable coin in the blockchain? The reason is that because the basic unit like ETH, sometimes the price changes very greatly. Here is 2021 May. 3 months ago, the ETH is only about $1,400, but now it's become like $3,400. So that makes the people very difficult to do the business, right? You can save the money. Let's say you save money 1 ETH 3 months ago. You have to change it maybe a few days to follow the trend, because now you only can save like 0.4 maybe ETH for your price. So the stable coin is run as a smart contract. Basically, whenever you can still exchange a USDT and do the transaction, do a payment use the USDT. Then, but this financial organization to say, whenever you get USDT, you say, I want to get back my real US dollar. So you can give them USDT, they will give back the US dollar. So that way they make sure the coin stable, always like about 1-to-1 ratio exchange rate. Then you don't have to worry about the ETH price change. This today we'll basically to look at how the Tether USDT is implemented. First, we go to the etherscan.io. Then we start to search the USDT. Here, basically, that's a token. It's called token Tether USD, right? And mostly you will look at here, they're called contract. They have address, right? So that's basically that's address of the contract. We click it to see what it looks like. So that's the contract of this USDT. This basically there are different of smart contract in the Ethereum. One of the popular ones called the ERC20 is mostly just for people to issue the tokens. Then you can transfer the token to other people, and you can check the balance. So they define some like standard method to do it. So the USDT is also the ERC20 token. The first we said it's a piece of code run in the virtual machine, right? Let's look at the code. If you click this contract, then you can say that's a code. The code is right in the Solidity, but it's pretty straightforward, right? They have some function. You can pass a parameter, can also return something, right? We'll ignore this first part is the utility library. To do the safe math, we'll ignore it. We'll go ahead to the ERC20 interface directly. There's a couple things important. One is called the balance of. Basically, you can use this balance of to check the balance in address, right? You pass the address, you want to check, hey, how much USDT I have it, then you can call this balance of method and get what they have it. Another one important is transfer, right? You want to transfer from one address to another address. So basically, the one who is calling this method is called the message sender. It's the owner of this balance. They will say, hey, I want to transfer like $100 to this address, right? So basically, they will call this superclass to transfer it. Another one is called like approve. Approve is another way to do it, right? Sometimes people will say, I don't want to transfer to you directly, but I approve you can get like $100 from my account. You can pre-approve it. After you approve it, then the guy that you approved it, then they have that right to get money from your account. So basically, they pass his address and your address and specify the value. So they call this transfer from function, and that way, the money will transfer from your account to his account. But here we can say everything is called from the superclass. We'll look at what's really inside this function. We can see there's standard token. So basically, this is derived from here, right? No, it's from the Tether token. Yeah. So we go to the standard token. Still go up. We'll find out the real implementation of the transfer. So yes, that's the standard token. We'll still go to the ERC20 token. Yeah. So here's the one. Similarly, they have the same function prototype, right? The transfer from my address to this address with this amount of the money. And the first that you have the option that you can say, hey, because I deploy this smart contract or I issue this token, sometimes I want to charge some fee because you are using my service. So that basically is to say, then they will define like a predefine some fee if you really want to charge to make money from the smart contract you created, right? You can submit the fee. So the core logic is here, right? One is that basically there's a balance for the sender. The first will subtract the value from the balance of the sender. Second, we'll add this amount of the money to the balance of the to address, right? It's where you want to send the money to. That way, the whole transaction is done. So here basically is a method that you can generate an event. That event can be checked in the blockchain. Similarly, for other stuff like the transfer from, you can see the similar stuff here. I will not go to the details, but everybody can go to this address to see all these details. Then I will go to the real life example to say, hey, what's really the transaction looks like, right? It's what really happened. We go to this ERC20 token, we find one of them. For example, here we can see there's like $300 transfer here. Yeah, that's a transaction. So from this one, we can see that the transfer from this address, like $300 to another address, right? The details, basically, if you click more, that will give you more detail. Here we can see that they start to call this transfer function, right? That's the address you try to transfer to. That's a parameter you pass to this function. That's a value. The value is in hex. So basically, if you convert it to the hex, for example, right, you can do it using a calculator. Let me change it to the programmer hex. Let's say that's 300. but there are other like 6-0 was behind. That's because the Tether USDT coin, if I go back to here, the dynamicals is 6 because everything is to use the integer in order to simulate the float point calculation. So they use this digit basically. So essentially here, for this last 3, it's just you can read as 300.0000. So that way you can say that this function pretty much, this transaction pretty much say, hey, successfully call this transfer method that will transfer from this address to this address with this amount of money. It's just a function call, right? As simple as that. Of course, in order to run some code in the smart contract, you have to pay the gas. That's the ETH. So basically, here we can see that they pay like 69 giveaway. That's about like $11 transaction fee. You have to pay it because you run your code in the blockchain. You run it in virtual machine. The miner basically they have to provide the computer to do this kind of calculation. You have to pay that money to them. So that's a gas. That's a transaction fee you pay it. So this will give you like a rough idea what's a smart contract and how it works. Essentially, it's a ERC20. We'll stop here. For the next section, we'll try to deploy a ERC20 token to the Tesla network. That way, we can use our MetaMask. That's because last time we talked about this one. Then to the transfer money to give you the real feeling. So how to use this smart contract. Thank you.